does not feel real. But oh boy, do we got a lot to yap about! Today is a yap day. That much is true. Guess who got her phone taken away for a year and is stuck using her mom's old phone? Hello, Fabino. That is so tragic. RIP. But at least you're here. We have a lot to discuss today. I brought baby Malleus today because he's kind of important. we got to yap. Got my coffee and everything. I would first like to discuss Cater, because his birthday is actually tomorrow today. My apps on my phone got deleted. Oh no! Not the apps! Have this Cater. That's gotta hurt. I already had to deal with getting a new phone a couple months, almost half a year ago at this point or something. I don't know. All I know is that my phone ended up just giving out on life and I had to get a new one. The world's so cool. The Cater's pretty. Although if there wasn't a Fairy Gala if rerun, I would try to get Cater's card. But Gotcha gone. OC Social Network gone. Obey Me Games gone. Sakura School Simulator gone. Shiny Mickey gone. Other Avatar making game gone. I know a lot of newer apps nowadays have like these like transfer codes. But then again, sometimes it's easy to forget to make one of those when you don't expect to lose everything that quickly. Although when I had to replace my phone, I was like, you know what, just in case my phone decides to crap out on life, I gotta set up the Twist backup account thing. Wait, what is bro holding? I'm blind. He's holding a piece of chocolate. One of the long rectangular ones. As we can see. Which is kind of funny because Cater does not like sweet stuff. But it makes me wonder what the flavors are for the assorted chocolates. I need to read, actually, these cards. Yeah, we have Cater's birthday card. And here's the groovy image, and he looks fine. I might be illegally blind. Me too. What a Cater. Nice. It's funny how people were kind of complaining that, oh, Cater's outfit looks too similar to Malleus's, but they don't look that similar. Surprise, it's secretly chili flavored chocolate. Real and true. Although it would have been cute if there was a chili pepper on the instead of the pomegranate. Twist yap, best yapper. Hello, Marcus. We're taking a brief discussion about Cater's birthday because it's today/tomorrow. just look at him. And it's funny because he doesn't like anything related to like sweet stuff. But I'm gonna assume that there's some bitter chocolate in here. There's probably something bitter or spicy in here that he'll enjoy. I don't know. But he just looks so disinterested in this image. I like it. But I skipped out on his card because there's a Fairy Gala rerun with Ortho, and I'm trying to get his card. So far, no luck. And I'm sad. This is the second time in a row he has not come home. I don't like spicy, but I need the chocolate in the first image. Pomegranate, Pomfiore. Still can't believe my got sorted into Pomfiore. And here's a better look at Cater's outfit, as usual. As we can see here, he is not wearing the same outfit as Malleus, which people were kind of complaining about. But then again, everybody with the chocolate is wearing something similar to each other. Kind of like everybody with the tarts were wearing something similar to each other. Like that's the theme. That's the theme for these birthday cards. It's desserts. Some of them are gonna look the same. Ortho, your mother needs you. I am not Ortho's mother. I am just the obsessive Ortho enjoyer. I just need him. It's kind of weird for me seeing Cater's hair fully tied. Yeah, that is interesting. We have seen his hair sort of with that side part before, but we haven't seen it, like, pulled back. It looks nice, actually. I like it. Speaking of which, ranking every twist food on stream when I gotta find the images. Because there's some stuff that I can do that for. I'm Ortho Sister Trust. Indeed. I feel like we've gotten Cater out of the way for today. It's time for the Book 8 discussion! This is gonna probably take a while, because I'm going to have to do a little bit of general story recapping before I dive into Book 8. Then again, we just got the first part of Book 8, so we don't know how long this is gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be as long as I think it will be, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being pretty long. Let's just start with general recapping. Make a category for twist food ranking called Diabolically Breaks the Universe with How Horrible It Is for Lilia's Cooking. Lilia's separate category. Wait, Book 8 out? Me didn't see it. Yeah, in Japan. Again, I do play on the Japanese server. Although, Book 8 should be coming out eventually in English. The English version of the game is kind of caught up a bit. They're having different events out right now. I don't remember what events they have right now. But, for the Japanese server, we're getting the Fairy Gala rerun, Leona's Overblock card, and Book 8. Also, they've updated on the Japanese server at least, so this is going to be coming to English soon. They've updated the max amount of class points or activity points that you can get from 10 to 30. And they've updated how many, like, max lessons you can do from 60 to 100. So that's going to make doing events a lot more easier. Which is what I'm currently doing right now off to the side. Did I ever mention I hated Leona? Yes. Yes, bestie. But now for our general recap of, I'm starting to think he's my discomfort character. I like that. That's funny. That's funny. Instead of a comfort character, it's your discomfort character. Vargas is my discomfort character. It sounds like a nicer way of saying I don't like this character, but I don't hate his existence. It's just like, you know what? You're not my jam. It is. Hey, bestie! The besties are here. Adriana. We're having a book 8 recap. We started off today with a little bit of Cater's birthday card because it is good. Even though Cater isn't really one of my top favorite characters. His card is good. I should probably zoom this out a little bit so that way we can actually see the words. Because my big old head is blocking everything. My discomfort character is Fellow and his sidekick. That's funny, I love it. Anyways, general Twisted Wonderland lore story recap. Leona character-wise is cool, but he reminds me too much of myself in a negative way, so then I start overthinking and feeling bad about myself when I see him, so that's... Aww. I just don't like characters like Vargas. But yeah, lore recap time. We know that the player character you is mysteriously summoned to Twisted Wonderland, and we start learning a little bit about the world from Crowley. Such as we know that magic exists in the world of Twisted Wonderland, and that when mages use magic, they create blot, and if you get too much of it, then oh no, you overblot. But even then, nobody really knows what causes it. Again, this is all information from Crowley that's kind of been sprinkled in throughout a lot of the main story chapters. Because I think after the prologue is when he kind of tells you about the concept of overblots after you encounter the creature in the cave. And then after Heart's Labiel, I think he starts talking a little bit more about it too. Dear Crowley, more like, doo-doo Crowley. I sometimes keep forgetting his name is now pronounced Dear. That kind of happened a little bit after the game's release. Zoom back, also, bestie, hi. My big head is blocking everything. There. That way I can just do this, and we can see the words on the screen. I mean, you don't really need to read it. It's more for me. More general lore recap that's gonna be pretty important for Book 8. It says not overblot. Blame the autocorrect, not me. I tried to put in overblot, but it said no. General lore recap part 2. We learn about Night Raven College's rival school, RSA, and this is going to be important for later. We also know that Crowley's been the headmaster for so long that he's been there since Tren was there. We don't get an exact year from what I remember of how long Crowley's been the headmaster, but I do think there was a side comment where Tren was like, Crowley's been the headmaster since even I've been here, so... Or was it Cruel? But either way, he's been there for a very long time. Again, blame the autocorrect. It doesn't want me to type out the names. But yeah, the rivalry between RSA and Night Raven College goes deep. And that's gonna be important for later. Because, also around the earlier chapters, we learned after, like, the Magic Shift tournament from the school, which was around book 2 time, that there's another competition between Night Raven College and Royal Sword Academy after the VDC stuff, which is the vocal dance championship thing, which in EN is called the Song and Dance Championship. But yeah, we learned that there's like some events that occur between the schools every once in a while, and that the one that happens after the VDC stuff, the Song and Dance stuff, is the very important one between the schools that they've been losing to each other for like 99 years straight. And now, more important information from book 4 that's gonna play a part in this, and I know I've spelled Henrik's name wrong because I don't care. So, from Lilia's flashback, we learn more about Briar Valley's history. You think there's more rivals for Night Raven College? Noble Bell was too small of a college. It's too small compared to Royal Sword, apparently. Night Raven College and Royal Sword are the biggest ones. But we learn about the Briar Valley's history, dealing with war with a kingdom from the Land of Dawning, I believe it was called. And the emergence of his sword kingdom that was on the same land. And that the Briar Valley versus the humans was like a war about like some resources and stuff like that. And specifically, we learned that they're trying to get Melinor's staff because it has a big old magic stone on it, but we don't know why. We just know that that's what they want, along with all the other resources on Briar Valley. Because, yeah. Baby Malleus! You're babysitting him? Yes, because we're talking about Malleus a little bit. He's kind of important right now. Because his mom's kind of important, you know? And then, you know, recap of what we saw in Lilia's dream. Melinor gives Malleus' egg to Lilia and all that stuff when she fights, you know, the Dawn Knight and all that, and then we don't see her again because she's dead. And just general recapping of, like, Lilia traveling the world for, like, 200 years trying to figure out how to get Malleus to hatch from the egg. Speaking of Melinor in Dreamlight Valley, I pretend to be her. Same. Since I got the outfit and stuff. Yeah, I've tried to do that too, but there's not enough good hair choices. We need more hair choices. And/or hair accessories. I feel like a horn set with a nice crown on it might be nice. Or separating horns from hats so that way you can wear horns and hats. That'd be cool, but that's just me. And Lilia stealing baby Silver. Yeah, that happened 200 years later after Malleus. But yeah, that's just a general recap of what we learned from Book 7 when it comes to the Briar Valley history. It's gonna be kind of important for Book 8. Book 8 time! Because I had this written down on a different notes thing. So I'm just gonna yap. I don't really need this, this here. This is just so that way there's nothing blank in the background. I just stay with my ponytail, because, yeah, the hair. Yeah. I usually go for the braid, because it has the little hair strands on the side, but that's just me. Book 8 time! Recap time. So, hello, we're learning about Twisted Wonderland's book recap. How you doing? We're yapping about Twisted Wonderland. I have gone over some important lore about the early chapters, about a fairy and human war, and the role of Twisted Wonderland, and just general recapping of important information from earlier. Do not get attached. Prioritize your studying. We'll be back later. Book 8. Summarizing Book 8. So it starts off with Crowley doing an ominous monologue to Snow White imagery, okay? So, in my opinion, Crowley is connected to Snow White's crow, not, Sleeping Beauty's. At least that's the vibes that I'm getting even stronger now, considering Crowley's vacation outfit had a bunch of apples on it. But, he's monologuing. I need to go over what he's monologuing about again, because he's kind of, like, yapping on about a cycle of repeating. Like, a repeating cycle over and over again about, like, heroes and villains or something. I need to reread that part. I was supposed to do that before today, but I forgot to because I just kept trying to read what's happening. But most of Book 8 is preparation for that important competition between Night Raven College and Royal Sword Academy. And will we freaking see Malleus's dad? Yes, we need to know more about Malleus's dad, at least at this point, because it seems like him going missing might be important, because he's not explicitly dead. I'm still not a believer in the Crowley's and I'm still not a believer in the Crowley is Malleus's dad thing. Mainly because Crowley has too much Snow White imagery that I'm just like, nah, he can't be. But yeah, most of Book 8 is about the students preparing for the competitions between, you know, the Royal Sword Academy, where we learn that they've been losing at it for like 999 years, pretty much, in a row. They keep losing. Because they suck at teamwork, and almost every challenge that the competition has involves an element of teamwork. We need more parents. I want to see Mama Shroud's face. I want to see Malefica. I want to see Malleus's grandmother, because she keeps being mentioned, but we never see her. And I'm just like, I need to see what she looks like now. I'm curious. But yeah, the competition between the schools, I forget what it's actually called. Because at first I thought it was just a big Magic Shift tournament, but Magic Shift is only like a small portion of that. Because there's like, I think 4 events that they do. But like there's a rotation of like 6. And it's different every year. OMG. Malleus Grandma, yes. I need to see what this woman looks like. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the fun stuff, but right now I want to get more into the lore stuff, so. The rivalry between an opposite. But yeah, so they're pretty much just preparing for that part of the story. Wait, I forgot, didn't Sebek say he had siblings? Yes, Sebek has 2 older siblings. A brother and a sister, I believe. All I know is that he has 2 older siblings. Also, yes, Book 8, Crowley, stay away from Grimm. But the main juicy part is that after all the preparations for these competitions is when we get the staff talking about some that happened back in book 7. Because after the miracle of Lilia coming back from the dead, Train starts taking an interest in Silver's ring. Because apparently Train used to study a bunch of these ancient artifacts as part of like his thesis back in his youth. And he believes that Silver's ring is something known as a wish piece. And then we get a lore drop about like what wish pieces are. And they're basically like these magic items that are said to change history, change fate, change a person's destiny. And then the examples that are given are the Rose of Love, the magic lamp, and glass slippers, and that's pretty obvious what those are. And they kind of explain sort of what wish pieces are. And then Tren's like, yeah, the magic stone that was in Silver's ring, that thing broke, but I wanted to see where it came from. And he gets information from Styx in the Briar Valley about where that magic stone that was in the ring came from. And I forget what mountain it was called. I want to say it was like Thunderbolt or something. Some thunderous mountain in the Briar Valley. When you wish upon a star. But yeah, some mountain in the Briar Valley is where the magic stone originated, and that's also where the magic stone from Melinor's staff came from. The magic stone known as the Princess Glow. And then Tran starts trying to like figure out what happened to the Princess Glow because it's been lost to history for like 400 years. Nobody knows what happened to it after the Melinor was killed, and it was said that the human kingdom took the stone. Maybe Fantasia related with the mountain, but yeah. the magic stone, the Princess Glow, it was handed down to the Sword Kingdom, and then it's lost to history at that point because nobody knows what happened to it. So Train's trying to figure out what happened to it. So he's like ordering all these manuscripts from like these magic societies that he's like a part of. And it's like part of the reason why Train wants to figure out what happened to this Princess Glow thing is because he wants to get back at RSA for not hiring him. He's like, if I figure out what happened to this thing, then RSA is gonna regret the day they didn't hire me. I just like that that's his motivation for trying to figure out what happened to this ancient lost artifact. If Silver pricks his finger on a spindle, it's over. I'm waiting for my Silver moment. He's such an important little boy. You can't hate Silver. If you hate Silver, I don't trust you. But yeah, Trey's trying to figure out what happened to the Princess Glow, and he manages to find a document of a diary from the Sword Kingdom that was written by a maid, who's kind of talking about what happened after they obtained this Magistone and what they did with the Magistone. They turned it into a giant chalice cup thing with the Magistone at the base. And we learned the reason why the Sword Kingdom wanted this giant Magistone is because it was said to create miracles. And the reason why we bring up the wish pieces is because those things can create miracles in a sense. They create little miracles. And then Train's like, if that thing was able to bring Lilia back from the dead, who knows what this giant Magistone can do? And the Sword Kingdom wanted that giant Magistone because their king was sick and dying of a disease. And so they made this giant cup thing and they had him drink water out of this thing, and the king was cured of whatever sickness was killing him. And then at some point they're like, you know what, we need to hide this giant cup thing because who knows what'll happen if somebody takes it. And so it's again in another item entrusted to 3 fairies of unnamed origin. The same 3 fairies that hid Silver and put that little spell on him. And then it's given to these 3 fairies, and then these 3 fairies give that giant cup thing to some sorcerer named Ambrose, and then Trey's coming to the conclusion like, hey, wait a minute, Ambrose. Hey, wait a minute, the championship trophy! and he just barges into Crowley's office, and he's like, Crowley, I need to see what that trophy looks like. And Crowley's like, what? Okay. We never win, but here's a picture of it. And he's like, I found it! And Trade has essentially solved the 400-year-old mystery of what happened to Melinor's magic stone. If Silver pricks his finger on a spindle, it's over. We will all scream if he does. Who's gonna wake him? Us? Wake him? Us? Malleus? Sebek? Anyone? Silver? Who's gonna wake him up? OMG, what if we prick our finger on the spindle? Who's gonna save us? Malleus? Malleus Shipper's gonna go wild. That is an interesting thought. I think it'd be cute if it's Lilia again. Just fully accepting, I am your father now, Silver. Trends of 400-year-old mystery. But yeah, that's basically the more important bits from Book 8, is that we learn about the rivalry between Royal Sword and Night Raven College again. And then we learn the whereabouts of Melinor's magic stone, and that it's being used as a championship trophy between the schools. And the fact that Silver gets Lilia's last name when Book 7 was over. And the fact we hear Silver Van Rouge in Book 8 as well. Beautiful. But yeah, that's sort of the important stuff about Book 8. So now let's just... funny stuff from Book 8. Jade is this yet again. This stuff is a little bit out of order, but when they're like training for like these events that are going to be in this competition, one of them is like this sort of escape room type scenario. I forgot what it was called, but it was an escape room type scenario where they had to like try and solve these like puzzles to get out of a room. And then whoever solves all these rooms the fastest is like the winner. But if you do something stupid, you get eliminated. Like if you don't solve the puzzle correctly, you're just gone. You're disqualified. And during this event, there's Jade, Riddle, Epel, Jack, and 3 random non-important students, so like 3 background characters. And so while they're like trying to figure out how to escape the cafeteria, Jade kind of starts like giving hints about like, hey, maybe we have to do this. And then he just lets whatever random background student do it wrong the first time. And everybody kind of gets a little bit annoyed at him, like, why didn't you stop him? And Jade's like, I don't know. We gotta see what would happen. Like, Jade just did not care if the underclassmen would, like, do anything correctly. He just let them fail. It was kind of funny, and Riddle keeps getting a little bit annoyed at him, like, why are you doing that? Stop. Don't do that. Jade is Jade. Why do they question him? He's so weird. But also at the same time, he knows what he's doing as well, because he has like a bunch of random coin facts. Because Azul doesn't shut up about coins. And Jade's like, the only reason I know about like the density of like metals or whatever is because Azul never shuts up about it. And I just find that kind of funny. Because one of the puzzles had something to do with like 3 truths and a lie or something. And then they come to the conclusion that, oh, it must mean these metals on the wall because gravity points or whatever. Because like almost all these tasks are supposed to reinforce stuff that they've been learning. And Jade's like, yeah, gold. Gold is heavy. So one of those metals might be fake. I'm recapping this poorly, but that's like the gist of it. Which also reminds me, Bill is also kind of a menace. Because Bill's team included Azul and Jamil and 4 other background random students. And their group was part of a challenge that involved getting a monster item from a monster without killing the monster. And the monster in question was some giant toad. It was called a flop toad, I believe. But yeah, some giant magical toad thing, and they had to get a poison sac from it without killing the monster. Like, they can't harm it. And at some point, almost all the background characters end up getting got by the beast. and Bill's kind of like talking about like, teamwork's kind of stupid. You have to be willing to kind of sacrifice others for the greater good or whatever. Which kind of reminded me of something that happened in the Halloween event, the Nightmare Before Christmas one, the first one, where Bill's kind of like, let's just kill this guy. And I'm reminded again that Bill is also kind of ruthless. So Jade and Bill, both kind of ruthless. They do not care. Although I feel like Bill is a little bit crueler because he's like, if you can't handle this, then might as well cut you off for being dead weight. Jade's more like for the silly entertainment of it. Bill's more like, you're pathetic. Get better. Otherwise, you're a waste of time. So yeah, that's Bill. The Bill mentality. Hello, I just came back from listening to Cantaloupe Island by Herbie Hancock, Spring Rain by B.B. Silvetti, and Young Hearts Run Free by Candy Stage. Welcome back, Mercury. I am recapping Twisted Wonderland lore and talking about Book 8 of Twisted Wonderland and all the silly things that have happened. Such as Phil Schoenheit being ruthless. What else was funny? Oh, the Magic Shift team was also pretty funny. Who was it? It was Ida, Sebek, Cater, and Floyd, and 3 background students were part of a Magic Shift team that's practicing. And Ida clearly also a very good leader. He's also very good with magic. That's something to keep in mind as I'm talking about this, because they're discussing like how Magic Shift's played or whatever, and they're like getting into positions or whatever, and Sebek's kind of like, I wanted to be on Malleus's team. But he's like, I will do my best to learn from my senpais or whatever. Everyone is a menace. And Floyd's kind of like, isn't this just like basketball or whatever? And everybody's like, no, this isn't like basketball, Floyd. Please stop it. And Floyd, at some point, he's like, I want to make a 3-pointer from like halfway across the field. So he does that. But everybody like don't do that because it's kind of stupid, and the only person who can pull off these kinds of moves is Malleus. But Floyd did it anyway, and they're like, how did he do that? And then Ida's kind of like, well, I sort of helped move the disc along with my magic. I was using lightning magic or whatever. And Sebek's kind of like, I'm learning about things. So that's how you can also use lightning or whatever. but Floyd's like, hey, Ida, why don't you keep helping me make these 3-pointers? And Ida's just like, no, please. This is why I hate people. Because again, Ida's a pretty smart dude. He's a good leader. He just hates people. And I feel like people forget that when they hear about Ida's character doing something pretty cool. Like, Ida's smart. He's just physically not very athletic, but he's like not a terrible like strategist. Like that's kind of part of the reason why he's, you know, like a genius. I have to go. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, bestie. Bye-bye. I'm continuing to yap about everything that's happened. Oh yeah, and Sebek starts off this chapter bawling his eyes out because he can't be on the same team as Malleus. And it's so funny, he makes such a weird noise too. I'm just like, oh, poor Sebek and his wailing. He just wanted to be by Malleus' side. But he was not able to. But it was so funny. And also Ortho was so adorable. Although apparently Ortho is not allowed to participate in the actual event because it would be considered cheating and there's no rules for Ortho yet. So he's just like, I am a special boy. I can't participate in most of these things, otherwise it's deemed cheating. I will be cheering you all on from the sidelines. I'll go listen to Love Theme by Love Unlimited Orchestra and Sarana Onna, Lady of Sand by Shigeru Suzuki. Bye, Mercury. Have fun. As I continue to recap Twisted Wonderland stuff. Vaguely out of order because I'm kind of just talking about the stuff that I found kind of funny or interesting. Wait, let me see if I can pull up an image of the trophy. The very important trophy. I also just need an image of Melanor real quick because that's kind of relevant. Let me see. Because the design of the trophy is definitely something. I know I have some stuff saved around here. Not the stuff that I wanted saved. I'm not very bright. I should have found the Magistone image earlier. I really should have. Now I have to try and figure out how to get it. Because I do kind of want to look at it though, but let me just pull up Melanor for reference because she has the item in question that we need. Oh, I keep spelling Melanor's name wrong. Oof. Just oof. Where? Not this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Image. New image. There we go. So there's Malleus's mother. Important reference here because she has that giant green orb on her staff, which is that very important, our very important plot device. That Princess Glow Magistone. I'll zoom in a little bit on it too, but as you can see, there is a green orb on top of this thing, and it's a very important magic stone because it's humongous compared to like all the other magic stones that have ever existed. And now, for reference, the championship trophy. That everybody, that Train has figured out, holds the missing 400-year-old Magistone. I finally found the image. There it is. That's okay. See you next time, Fabina, but just... here's context. There it is. The missing Princess Glow Magistone has been found, and it's on this ridiculous looking trophy. I mean, it looks cool, but it is over the top, that's for sure. But yeah, the thing that everybody's been looking for has been found. Let's see. Well, yeah, in preparing for these events, it's noticed that most of the first-year students are the ones that tend to fail these events a lot because they have no idea what they're doing. They're kind of just there. They're gaining experience for next year, but, like, at the time, they're just kind of there. And they're like, why do we have to be here if most of us aren't even going to be participating? And it's like, well, the other students are, so you're here for them to practice. And I just found it kind of funny. Again, I'm retelling a lot of these things out of order, so... But, yeah, part of the reason why, like, this is, like, an important event, it gives the same vibes as, like, oh, we have an important test coming up, like, the entire school is essentially going to be doing something in preparation for it, even if you're not taking it. So, like, there's only, like, a few selected students. And I do think most of the dorm leaders were selected, I think. I don't remember what students specifically were selected, but most of the first years were not selected to participate in the event officially. They're just there for the practice. Because they kind of suck. And Ortho would be cheating. Kind of suck. Because they're stuck with a lot of very basic classes. Whereas everybody else has like all those specialty classes where they're like, these events are here to test what you've learned, but the first years have learned nothing. They get the most bare bones basic classes ever in comparison to everybody else. And they're like, why are we here? We're just suffering. But Rook is like, because Rook's team has Grim, Ace, Deuce, and Leona. And then 2 bonus background students who get eliminated in their event, because their event is a sort of maze. I think it was called a maze sprint. Where it's basically, there's this maze with a bunch of traps and you gotta get out of it the fastest. It's like a more unhinged version of the bunny relay race from Deuce's hometown event. It's a more unhinged version of that, but it's not a relay race. So there's like a bunch of traps everywhere and illusions and stuff like that, and you gotta figure out how to get through everything. And decide whether or not it's worth breaking through with brute force, or you gotta be clever. And Ace and Deuce are kind of just suffering. Whereas Rook and Leona are like, you can do- well, Rook is like, you can do it, guys. It's your chance to fly. It's so funny. And like, Rook is the only one that's like semi-encouraging. Whereas Leona is just like, keep up, losers. Don't do anything recklessly stupid. Yeah, that's our recap. That is my old predictions are definitely not really coming true at the moment. But I still do have the question of what is the ghost camera for? We're gonna learn more about other dorms. I don't think they're that important. Are we gonna learn Grimm's origin at this point? Because it feels like we might. I feel like we're getting closer to a Crowley mask-off moment, because I think he is the one monologuing. But we are definitely getting the plot unraveling at this point. We're learning more, because we're getting information, you know? The important lore and history between Night Raven College and RSA probably dates back to that 400-year-old war. Like, there's gotta be a connection there, because Ambrose had the chalice thing. Ambrose the 63rd has it right now. So that thing's been passed down from the Ambroses of the past. So I'm guessing Ambrose has been entrusted with this thing, but he doesn't really know its true origins. At least Ambrose the 63rd, he probably doesn't know exactly everything about it, other than probably what he's been told about it, that it's like an important artifact or whatever, and that you have to keep hold of it or something. But I'm just like, why is this thing the championship trophy? And, you know, it's like, that's a pretty important item to have. Why are you just using it as a trophy? Is it the real one? Is this a real version of this artifact, or did you just make a copy of it so that way you can, in the event Night Raven College won the thing, they wouldn't have the real thing or something? It was like, that's interesting. Why is it a trophy now? Or did Ambrose just never learn why he was entrusted with this thing to begin with? Or at least one of the Ambroses didn't learn why he was entrusted with it and kind of didn't know what made it extremely important and why he had to keep a hold of it, and then the current Ambrose also doesn't know why. Like, I feel like part of the history of this thing was lost when it was passed down from one Ambrose to another. to the point where it's a trophy. And I'm thinking Crowley probably knows most of this stuff already, but he's pretending to play dumb. Maybe some of these events have played out before, and it's always ended in failure or something. Because that's kind of the vibe that I get from Crowley's little monologue. But I also feel like Grimm is going to be an important piece to this puzzle, because Grimm also had a weird dream this time, which isn't normal for Grimm. That also happened at the beginning of Book 8, when we're getting, you know, our introduction to the story, and we had that monologuing bit with the Snow White imagery of the evil queen turning into the hag, and then making the poison apple, while Crowley ends up monologuing about something. I think Crowley's monologue was first, then the Snow White stuff. And then we hear Grimm talk about, like, I had a horrible dream where I was, like, tied up by some ugly hag or whatever and dipped into this green goo and I turned green. So I'm just like, oh no. Oh no, Grimm. He's a plot device. Oh no. Which also is kind of like what Appel was. Appel was kind of like a plot device, like a weapon of sorts. Although in the case of the Pomfiore chapter, it's more like Vil needed Appel because Appel has the same kind of, at least this is how I interpret most of what happened in the Pomfiore chapter, is that part of the reason why Vil ends up training Appel for the VDC stuff is because Appel has the similar traits of Neji visually. Like, he's like this cute little innocent boy looking boy, which is something that Vil isn't and has never really achieved. And that's why he, like, grabs Appel and he's like, you're gonna be my weapon against Neji. At least that's how I've always interpreted Appel, along with the fact that the poison apple is his character icon. And the fact that we have Grimm having this weird dream about being, like, used like that poison apple. I'm like, somebody needs Grimm. He's here for a purpose, and we're gonna figure out that purpose eventually. He's gonna be the key to something. I can feel it at this point. I can feel it in me bones. But yeah. We'll see what happens. I am excited. I'm excited for what's to come. Oh, here's Cater again. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. Because we're starting to get more into the lore now. More of the lore, more of why are we here? Because that stuff kind of did get a little bit pushed to the side as we were further along in the story. We had little bits of stuff here and there. And a lot of the event stuff gave us a lot of important world-building information. And I feel like that's gonna pay off eventually. We might even see Scully again popping up in the main story, but as just like a background character for like reference or something. If we're gonna start talking about like Night Raven College's past or whatever. Like, I feel like that's where we're going. We're going down. I predict that during the actual competition we might even see some new RSA students. I want to see some new RSA students, actually. Because we saw some... our first introduction was Chenya, back in the Hearts of the Beale chapter. That's when we get that first lore... Excuse me, that's when we get that first lore drop about Night Raven College has a rival school. And then it's brought up again during the VDC stuff, and we actually get to see Neji and Neji's 7 dwarf friends that he grew up with, as well as Chenya, and just generic background RSA students, but... and also Ambrose the 63rd, in the Pomfiore chapter. So I'm curious if we're gonna see more Night Raven, or more RSA students. Because this is definitely going to be the chapter to introduce a few new ones. Maybe learn a little bit of how RSA is structured, because I feel like it's structured similarly to Night Raven College. There's probably some dorms there, but they all look the same. They all have a very generic uniform. Although it would be curious if RSA has dorm uniforms as well, because that'd be fun. That'd be fun to see some new outfits for the characters. But I feel like RSA just has one uniform in comparison to Night Raven College, which is extra. Night Raven College is the extra. Yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna wrap it up today. I'll be happy to yap more about it, but tomorrow might be drawing the model, might actually just try and draw my Twist OCs again, because I haven't drawn them in forever and I kind of want to draw them again. Benji still needs a name. He still needs a full name. I think I have his magic written down somewhere, but he still needs a name. I'm just not that creative with it. And I feel kind of like, oh no. Because Kalia, he has a full name, he has a unique magic, he was easier to figure out. Then again, I based him off of Ka, so that makes it easier to work with what Twist gives. Benji's based on Ben, so that one's a little bit more complicated, because Ben kind of just shows up for the last half of Treasure Planet. Mainly for plot reasons, but whatever. But yeah, have a good rest of your day. It is February. I would also like to take a moment of silence for Dino Land USA. R.I.P. Dino Land USA. RIP. Moment of silence. Completed. But yeah.